Birmingham. I'm also a clinical supervisor and a registered psychosexual therapist. My presentation is, we're going to talk about psychosexual therapy. I'm going to explain to you how I work with survivors of FGMC and people that have experienced trauma. So, just around consent, just to let you know that this presentation contains sexualized descriptions, sexual information, and 3 slides containing genital diagrams. So just consider how you're going to look after yourself, and just, do I have consent with sex and intimacy issues in relationships, working within a relationship, individuals or groups. It's non-judgmental therapy for individuals to express their sexual concerns and explore solutions. It includes sex education, individual counselling, relationship exploration, and negotiated and or agreed work. So I tend to use a biopsychosocial model, and for assessment, and in the biological assessment, we're looking at the hormonal influences, genetic factors, neurological factors, and how these can impact sexual function and behaviour. The psychological aspect, we're looking at thoughts, emotions, past traumas, mental health issues, self-esteem, and body-related issues, and how they influence sexual well-being. And with the social aspect, we're looking at the cultural norms, cultural and societal norms, family dynamics, relationships, issues, and environmental factors. But I'm also an anti-oppressive practitioner, and I also like to integrate social justice models in the psychotherapy that I deliver. So what issues does psychosexual treat? We call it PST for short, so if you are around people who practice psychosexual therapy, you may find that they use the term, they use PST. We treat performance anxiety, so dealing with worries about sexual performance, desire discrepancies, addressing differences in sexual desire between partners, body image issues, communication issues, improving communication about sexual needs and preferences, painful intercourse, so that can be an anticipation of pain. It doesn't always have to have a medical background. And sometimes doctors will refer to this as vaginismus, otherwise referred to as an inability to tolerate penetration. Orgasm difficulties, addressing the challenges in achieving orgasm, erectile problems, early and rapid ejaculation, including delayed ejaculation, and sexual trauma recovery, and how we can support individuals in overcoming the impact of sexual trauma on intimacy. And sometimes when we're working with couples, we can have like vaginismus and early ejaculation, so we can have a dual dysfunction. So how common are sexual problems in the UK? They are common. There was a study, a probability study done by called NATSL3, and it's called the Sexual Attitudes and Lifestyle in Britain. And that surveyed just over 15,000 people between 2010 to 2012. And they found that in the UK, 1 in 4 men and women who were in a relationship did not share the same level of sexual interest, and 1 in 6 reported a health condition that affected their sex lives in the past year, and 1 in 5 men and women who were in a relationship said that their partners had experienced sexual difficulties in the past year. So sexual problems are common. But what do we know about FGMC and psychosexual therapy or sexual function? Well, right at the top of the list, we know that not all women who have FGMC have issues with sexual function. Sexual desire, interest and arousal can be impacted by FGMC. Body image issues can impact arousal and desire, and women who have experienced FGMC are more likely to develop psychological disorders such as post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, phobias, low self-esteem. But we also know that mental health issues anyway can cause issues with sexual function. Studies show a more impaired sexual function in women with FGMC, who have experienced FGMC, and research suggests that not feeling like a woman was reason for wanting reconstructive surgery. That's what research suggests. So, as I said, I'm just going to, that's the image. Okay, so I'm now going to put the slide on, is that okay? Yeah? Okay. So, anatomy clarity. This is the vulva, not the vagina. And when I was growing up, I called this the vagina. This was the vagina up until probably I was 21, this was the vagina. Yeah? But it's the vulva, and it's so it just refers to the genital area encompassing the mons pubis, where the landscape where pubic hair sits upon. It houses the clitoral head, vaginal and urethral opening. The prepuce, which is a fold of skin which just covers the clitoral head, the clitoral gland, the labia minora, labia majora, the vestibule, and the perianum. This slide speaks for itself, really. It's just talking about pleasure and how each area contributes to pleasure. The vulva is sensitive to light touch and pressure, offering pleasure and exploration. This is the kind of information that I would give to a client, to any client. We start off with psychoeducation, just letting them know about their body and the function, and talking about pleasure and arousal and desire and how it can be achieved. This is the clitoris. Until I became a psychosexual therapist, didn't know that this is what the actual body of the clitoris looked like. I've actually got I've got a model if anybody wants to pass it around. Oh, and so we've got the clitoral, the glands of the clitoris, the corpus cavernosum, which is a erectile tissue, and when the arousal is present, that area becomes erect. We've got the bowl of the clitoris as well, which also becomes engorged when aroused, during arousal. We've got Bartholin's glands at either side of the vaginal opening, which produce lubrication on arousal as well. And some of this might sound familiar if you've heard things such as like Bartholin's cysts and things like that. It kind of all makes sense. But it's just to see that the clitoris is a bit like an iceberg, isn't it? So some facts about the clitoris. It has over 8,000 nerve endings, resembles an iceberg, as I said, with the majority of its activities hidden beneath the surface. It's singly designed for pleasure. It defies the aging process, making it one of the only parts of the body that remains perpetually youthful. It embraces diversity, as every clitoris is uniquely different in its form and function. And historically, doctors advocated for clitoral removal as a misguided cure for mental illness, like depression and schizophrenia, or to address perceived issues of women desiring sex. And this was between like the 1800s, 1900s, done primarily in Europe and America. So your brain on sexual well-being, or your brain and sexual well-being. I say to my clients that your brain is your biggest sexual organ, really. A lot of people think it's all happening on a genital level. But I say it's happening up here, up in your brain. The brain is key for sexual pleasure, interpreting signals and releasing pleasure-related neurotransmitters. Emotional responses to stimuli, to touch, are processed in the brain. The brain's memory recalls past experiences, including FGMC trauma, which can impact sexual pleasure. And the brain processes beliefs, attitudes, and expectations, shaping a woman's post-FGMC sexual experience, or just shaping our sexual experiences, full stop. The brain controls hormones like oxytocin and dopamine for bonding and pleasure. The brain processes pain signals, impacting its response to sexual stimuli for those with FGMC-related discomfort. The brain is crucial in the mind and body connection for arousal, desire, and overall sexual satisfaction. And the brain's role in mental health is important for overall sexual pleasure. Addressing mental health aspects is essential. So I thought, what are the ingredients? What are the ingredients? And I came up with a list of what the ingredients are for a positive sexual or intimate experience. Communication, consent and control, feeling in control, and clear consent are important for survivors. Relaxation and comfort, creating a comfortable, relaxed environment, eases anxiety. Education and understanding, knowing about FGMC anatomy, and knowing about your body's post-FGMC anatomy and sexual health, and empower survivors to make informed decisions. Foreplay and lubrication, and emotional connection. So building emotional intimacy promotes a sense of safety and trust. Mindfulness and relaxation techniques. You can find brief 5 minutes relaxation mindfulness videos on YouTube. Patience and self-compassion. Being patient and practicing self-compassion can help survivors to navigate their own journey and pace. Advocacy and support groups, so engaging with advocacy groups, having that sense of community and shared experiences. But also missing from this is friendship. Friendship, finding out what somebody's social circles are like. Counselling and sex therapy will help to address barriers, promoting a positive sexual mindset, and clients' own exploration of their pleasure. So these are the potential outcomes for psychosexual therapy. I won't read that slide, but these are the potential outcomes. We've already heard that psychosexual therapy it's not easy to get on the NHS. I'm quite lucky to be a psychosexual therapist in the NHS, but I also work in private practice as well. So if you're looking for psychosexual therapy, I'd go to approach your local sexual health clinic to see if they have a psychosexual therapist there, some FGMC services, the College of Sex and Relationship Therapists have a list of psychosexual therapists, and these will be they'll be in private practice. But also for general counselling and psychotherapy, because we know that the evidence says that they're more likely to experience issues with mental health. So we know that general counselling is recommended. So our community partners that are here today and who offer counselling, can you put your hands up if you've got anyone here today that offers counselling? 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so, you know, get your links with community partners. I'm in Birmingham, so get your links. But also there's the Black, African and Asian Therapy Network as well. I'm all for people having therapy in their mother tongue as well. So what I find is that I have to use language line at work. If you've heard, it's a telephone interpreting service. Look, I'd rather someone speak their first language than have to try and explain their emotions to me in English. And I still feel like I can still get a felt sense when they do that. And then we've got the UK Council of Counselling and Psychotherapy and the British Association of Counselling. I want to thank the Contemporary Institute of Clinical Sexology for letting me use those pictures, those diagrams, which they had specially commissioned for them because they wanted images of women of colour, of people of colour. And also, this is a call for more psychosexual therapists as well to do their training. That's their email address, that's their website there. I'm Natasha Anderson-Foster. Thank you for listening.